Oh, you're back. Right. So we've done a header. We've also got a two headers in our hero banner at the top with an image. But it's just telling you a little bit about, well, hey, doesn't really tell you what this page is about, to be honest, but you get the idea of what it's doing, okay? Um, but what we don't really have is like a lead magnet or a call to action. And what I mean by that is, why should anyone stay? You got 2 or 3 seconds to make them make that decision and stay on your website. So are we going to give them an offer? Do you want a free ebook? Do you want a discount? Do you want a coupon code? Do you want access to a secret website membership organization? Do you want to become an Elementor Star-Lord or something like that? Elementor Star-Lord, I don't think we have that. Or a Maverick, just something. Or do you want to contact us? Make a booking, make an appointment, speak to us. Let's help you out. Get a quote. All of these things. The simplest way to do that, in all honesty, is you could add a bit more text. So I could go over here and I could go text editor. And I could now add in more text. So I'm going to leave this as lorem ipsum for now. And I'm going to change the text color to be white. Go to typography and EM and we'll go for 2. No, we won't go for 2. We'll go for 1.5. So we're going to have some slightly different text. Go for roboto. And we're going to go for weight 300. Now we'll leave it as 400. And we'll drop this to be about, there you go, 1.4. So we're going to have some more text and then it might say, look, get this amazing offer or something like that, or contact us. I'm actually going to take this out. No, I'm going to leave it in. Let's leave it in. So you can add something in there to try and entice them a little bit more. One thing I will say before we add the actual button vote is when I look at this, the spacing between the header 2, and the text is a little bit close. Okay, so when I go over here and I click on my column 1, okay, when you go to, column 1, you go to layout, elements or widgets are always spaced out by about 20 pixels. There's 20 pixels of spacing from here to here to here. That's just how it works. Over here you have widget space. If I put 0, they bang up against one another. If I type 50, they are very far apart. I always tend to say leave that as it is, 0, leave it as just 20. And what you want to do is go into each individual element, click it, go to margin. Okay, I always like to 0 everything out, by the way, on all of them, because I like to have control over the entire look of it. I go to header 2, and I'm going to say, rather than just giving me 20, give me 10 more. That is now 30. You have the existing 20 plus 10 more. Now it gives me 30. And over here, I'm actually going to do the same again. Just give me about 10 more there. So I'm just spacing it out how I want it to be. Okay? We are going to modify this, because we haven't even touched the mobile mode yet. Right. What we then do is we're going to add in a button. So click the grid to see your items. And we're now going to drop in a button. Now the button at the moment is quite small in comparison to the lettering. We can centralize it, right align it, make it full width of that column. So if that column was the full screen, that would go across the full screen. Get the idea? I'm going to leave it as a left for now. And rather than saying the word click here, I'm going to say something like get your free training. Get your free training course. I really should be planning this out better, shouldn't I? Get your free training course, okay? In fact, we'll probably put it in capitals as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to type get your free training course, okay? We're going to go to style. We're going to do the typography. I'm just going to go for roboto again. I want to set this EM to be about 2. No, too big. We'll go for 1.5. The weight we're going to do as a 500. Yeah, okay. While we're in the button, and I'm now going to go to the color. I'm going to set the color of this to be orange. I'm going to leave the text as white. I'm a little bit here and there with white or black. Black probably, actually black works better. And when you hover over it, I want the background to go a grey colour, and I want the text to go white. So when you hover over it, just go, there's a slight change in colour there. play around with what you want to go for. I'm going to go for my border radius. I could put a border around this if I want and pick a particular color. So I'm going to go to solid, and I'm actually going to pick white. Okay, in fact, I'll tell you what, let's change this. I'm going to go to normal, and I'm now going to change this color background to be fully transparent. I'm going to put my text to be white. Okay, when you hover over it, I now want the background to go orange. The text will stay white. I want the border to be a solid color and it to be white. I want the width of that border to be no more than 2 pixels all the way around. And I want the radius to be 25. So what happens now? When we hover over this now, we get that. Yeah? So if you've got an image, that is now a transparent background for that button. So let me just show you. Let me just put the button over to the... Let's put the button over. Let's just make the button full width. Okay. Can you see there? It's transparent. Can you see that? Can you see that that little smoke effect there just on the bottom? You can see it coming through. Okay. So that's a nice little effect you can add in to have a bit of control over how your buttons look. So that is a very basic hero banner. Headers, bit of text maybe. You don't have to have text. And a bit of a call to action. It's not the greatest call to action, by the way. You could put in another image, actually, down here. Matt, let me show you that. I could actually add in another image here. And I'm now just going to pick, let me pick this image here. The transparent white background. Let me insert that. There is my transparent white background. I'm going to just put it as a left align. I'm going to go to style. I'm going to go to pixel. For the maximum width and the normal width, I'm going to say make it 100. Okay, so I could have had an image there of a PDF or a menu book or a product or just someone giving you the thumbs up. I don't know. You could have something there if you want. So, and this is all part of the hero banner at the moment. Look how this is working. Let me get rid of that. What if you want to add a bit more to the right-hand side? Maybe you don't want the button here. Maybe you do want the button on the right-hand side. I could, well, what you would do is you would basically, you would go over here to your column, you would take away the 500, put that back to 0. You would then duplicate or add another column, like so. And it's now going to be 600 by 600. I'm going to put my mouse in the middle, my cursor in the middle, and just move like that. And as soon as I do that, I've actually shrunk column 2. I can now pick up the button here. I'm going to drop it into column 2. I'm now going to go back to my section, go to my layout, and I'm going to say, I want the column position to be bottom. So now when I view my page, I have that layout. It's not great. I'm going to put it back to how it was. But you can have items in column 1, items in column 2, items in column 3. You can have things however you want. Okay. Let me just undo that. And again, we're going to use our history. Undo, undo. Undo the column added as well. In fact, there we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So now we're back to where we were. So we could have things on the right-hand side. I could even have all of this on the left and have the image on the right-hand side if I had a different image. But I just want to get across how we've built that. Okay. Now, what we could have done, okay, is we could have had a transparent background as well to the header. But I'm not going to do that. That will be a later video we'll do another time, which is where we might use the hero banner again. Right, so what we've got is we've got a header at the top and we've got our banner. I'm going to now go into my edit header and I'm going to get told, do you want to save your changes? Yes, I do. I don't want to lose it before I edit the header. As we scroll up and down, the header disappears as well. And what we're going to be building is a one-page scroll layout. Okay, so how does this look on a mobile phone now? Let's go to responsive mode. Let's go to 378. Remember those numbers. Right, 378. And look, what we now have is it always goes bleh when you go to mobile mode, okay? And this is where sometimes you have to have maybe a slightly different image size sometimes. So I'm going to go over to my section, and at the moment I'm going to just undo everything. Now the desktop is still going to look how it was. We're only touching the mobile settings now. So the padding here, I'm going to say about 30 at the top and we'll go with 40 at the top and 40 at the bottom. Okay, we're going to go now to our styling for our section. We already have the image. I'm going to go with center right. No, we're going to go with center. Okay, fixed, no repeat. And if I go for contain, it does that. That is not what I want. Okay, and that's what the contain does. It's containing it within the limitations of the size of the screen and the page and how big the image is. Let's put that to cover. But again, it does not look right. And here's where we now have to kind of modify a bit more. So at the moment, the size for this, okay, this is modifying accordingly to the size of the screen. The only drawback to this, though, is that if I go to the column, it's brought over that 500, 600 limitation we did on the column on the desktop, where we said the right-hand side, there must be breathing space. So I'm going to reset that for the mobile. We're only touching the mobile. I'm also going to just make sure, yeah. However, the wording is still too spaced out for my liking. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the typography over here, and I'm going to set the EM for this to be about 2. I'm going to set it to be about 1.9. Yeah, we'll go with 1.9. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to go to typography, set it on EM, and I'm going to go for 1.9 or 8 even, and then just drop it down a bit. And for the text here, I'm going to go for the style. And again, I'm just going to say Roboto EM, and that was 1 point whatever. We'll go with 1.5. It's too big. We'll go for 1 point. We'll go for 1.2. 1.3. You have to think a little bit about what looks good, and I tend to sometimes grab my phone and look at it on my phone as well, just so I get a real life visual of it. We're now just going to go down to the button. There is still more to do here, so don't everyone shout out going, that looks rubbish. No, stay with me on this. I'm now going to go down to my button over here. And I'm now going to set the style for the typography here, and the EM I'm going to set as 1.2. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.3. We'll go with 1.3. Okay, right. This button, I am now going to say on the mobile is centralized. The text here I'm going to leave left aligned, but at the moment everything is bang up against the left-hand side. I'm going to go to my section, go to my advanced. I have set my padding to be 40 from the top and 40 from the bottom. I'm now going to say 15 from the right and 15 from the left. Just a little bit of breathing space from the scroll bar for when you're going up and down the screen, obviously, and just around the edges. And I find 15 is more than enough. 10 doesn't feel enough. 20 always feels more. 15 for me is my sweet spot in how I like to work. Now that image at the moment is still not perfectly where we want it to be. And that's because if I start to use the center left and center right, it's kind of going a little bit too much into the center for my liking. So I'm going to go to custom. And when I go to custom, I can now position the x-axis. I'm not too fussed about the y yet, but I'm going to do the x-axis. And I'm going to go here. And look, if I go too far, I'm now at the edge of the image. But I'm going to go this way. Look, that's too far. But if I go somewhere like roughly about there, roughly something like that, I've now got it kind of how I want. But this is where sometimes what I will do is I will go back to Canva. I will go back to my images that I was building. Okay, recent designs. I will pull through my image. And what I will do is it's not this one by the way, it's another image. I will resize. So I will resize something like this, and I will say, okay, I now want it to be, let's just go with 500 width for now, and about 700 in height. So it resizes it. I'll put the image in again, and I will position it a certain way. And you're thinking, what? You're swapping the image out? And the idea is that yes, what you can do is you could pick a different image. So let me just show you. Let me just pick this image here. and I insert it, and now I've got a different image for my mobile. I go back to my desktop. That is my desktop image. I go over here. That is my mobile image. And some people right now are going, because what some people do, and I used to do this a lot as well, is I would duplicate my section. I'm probably confusing you all now, but what I would do is I would duplicate my section, okay, and then I would basically say this section can only be visible on the desktop and this one is only for the mobile, but I'm going to cover that in a later video. We're keeping it on basics, right? So let me now just undo what I've done, because I'm showing you that you could have a different sized image for your mobile. Let me just undo all of that. Undo. There we go. So we're back to that image there. Okay, right. So we have our image. We have our light bulbs of the future, blah, 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 blah. That is our hero banner that we got going on at the moment. So we've now updated that. What does that do to our Google page score, though? So let's now go to Page Speed Insights. Let's reanalyze the page. So when I go to my Page Speed Insights now, my mobile score is 97 still. And yes, it's dropped from 100, but because I've added on Elementor and components, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. But I'm really, really happy. 97%. And yes, someone is going to go, yeah, but you haven't really got much going on there. You've just got logo and image and blah, 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 blah. So what? Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that say, how can we get your speed up to 95, 99%? They've got nothing like this on the page. They just have, well, basically practically nothing. So I'm really happy with this so far. And it looks really good on the mobile. So let's now move on to adding in a lot more sections.